girl. You know, for days now I've been watching you as you walk by. But I've been afraid to come out and tell you exactly just what's on my mind. Well, I think I'm going out of my head. Yes, I think.
Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dubs Only Podcast, episode 8 or 9. We're going to do a special preview of the Divisional round on who I think is going to win, why they're going to win, and the storyline behind it. We got 4 games. We got the Ravens versus Texans. We got the 49ers versus the Green Bay Packers, the Lions versus the Bucks, and the Bills versus the Chiefs to cap it off. A bunch of rematches going on, so let's just go into it right away. First game we got is the Ravens versus the Texans, a week 1 game that we saw, which saw the Ravens winning 25-9. Now, 2 different teams from week 1. You got a whole MVP, Lamar Jackson, and you got the Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year also, and C.J. Stroud. First game going against a stout Ravens defense that was pretty healthy with the Marlon Humphreys, with a bunch of other players as well. You see some injuries now, so it's going to be a different defense out there for the Ravens. But you got but you got a C.J. Stroud that actually been through the playoffs and now got his own win against a very stout Cleveland Browns defense, who some would say was the best defense in the league, and C.J. Stroud was able just to piece them up. So you got Mark Andrews out, who's going to be out of the game, which is Lamar Jackson's number 1 basically target. So I think we're going to see a bunch of running from Lamar himself, running backs. It's going to be a committee. You still got OBJ on the outside. You got Rashid Bateman. You got a whole bunch of players that they can go to. So you can't forget Isaiah Likely as well, backup tight end who's been putting in work for them since Andrews' injury. So what I think is going to happen is I think we're going to see a good old-fashioned, I want to say a gunslinging matchup, but I think we're going to see a running attack versus a passing attack, with the Ravens rushing the ball, being able to play physical, being able to just get at the line and be able to enforce themselves. Whereas you're gonna have the Texans, who are, I don't believe they're not ready yet for a team like the Ravens. For a team like the Browns, who didn't have their starting quarterback, but they did have Joe Flacco, who was playing phenomenal football, but he's no Lamar Jackson in the fact that he can kind of switch up a whole game like that by himself. So now we're going to see how C.J. Stroud is going to handle this type of pressure, knowing that, okay, now the eyes are going to be on him. Because when you're a rookie, it's not really many expectations. And there still aren't, honestly, for him, because he still has a whole bunch of time to grow. So, but going up against the number 1 team in the Ravens, I think the moment's going to be just too much for him, and that Ravens crowd is going to be too much for him. So what my final score is going to be for that game, it's going to be a close one, actually, and it's going to be 28-24 Ravens. And I have Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson is going to have himself an MVP-type performance because he is the MVP of this league. Now let's go to game number 2. This one, honestly, to me, this one is a sleeper game. This is, I think, the second best game in the whole weekend, and that's going to be the Lions versus the Bucks. Lions, we know the storyline's been going on. Haven't made the playoffs in over 30 years. Now they got the first win last week against the LA Rams, but this week they're going to be going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who aren't far removed from their Super Bowl championship. Yes, they had Tom Brady, but now they have a Baker Mayfield, and I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield is Tom Brady, but what I can say is that Baker Mayfield does have some of the attributes that Tom Brady has, and the fact that he has that competitive nature and fire in him. And you can just see in his play, especially when he gets his first down. So you see him going like he has like a first down like that. I mean, he's just a locker room guy that you want to play for, someone who's going to give it his all the time. And with the Lions, man, coming into the season, people had high expectations of them because of the way last year ended, and them barely missing the playoffs. And look at them this year. I mean, 12-5 to end the regular season. Got their first playoff win last week, and it was in a close one too. And there was emotion in that game as well, with Jared Goff playing against the Rams, Matthew Stafford coming back to Detroit for the first time since the trade, and being able to play in front of the home crowd. Whole bunch of emotion going in that one. But in this game, I think that the Lions have hit their ceiling this season, and I'm going to go with the Bucks just because of the fact that this Bucks team, again, like I mentioned, they did win the Super Bowl not so long ago, and they do still have some of the core pieces from that Super Bowl. And Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, you have some of the line that's still there. And I do believe that if Baker Mayfield is going to be able to want to advance, I mean, if he's going to want to advance, he's going to have to show it in this particular game that he is a franchise quarterback. He beat the Eagles last week, yes, but I think you win this game, it solidifies you that you are the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going forward in the future. And for my prediction on this game, I have the Bucs winning 30-24. Now we got the next game, which is going to be the Green Bay Packers versus the San Francisco 49ers. And a fun fact that I just found out this morning is that this is going to be the 10th time that these two teams have met in the playoffs. Not even divisional rivals, nothing like that. Just straight good football history of two great franchises playing against each other in the playoffs, going to trying to get their way to the Super Bowl. And let's just talk about what's at stake first for the 49ers. Number 1 seed. You've been to the NFC Championship for a good portion of the last 5 years. You made 1 Super Bowl appearance. You have the best collective roster on both offense and defense. And now you're at home, and now you have a young and dumb team in the Packers coming to town that you should be able to beat convincingly, just because of the playoff experience that you have and that you can use to your advantage compared to this team, which I call young and dumb in the sense that not because they're dumb in themselves, but I don't believe that they understand what they're doing right now. They're just going out there and playing. Whereas you have the 49ers who have been there, done that, gone out there, won games, been to a Super Bowl, not won it, but they've been to a couple of NFC Championship games as well. And they have that experience to them that they've been there, done that. Whereas you have the Green Bay Packers who are the youngest team in this playoff season. Yes, they beat the Dallas Cowboys, but I don't believe we're going to be comparing the Dallas Cowboys to the San Francisco 49ers in the sense that the San Francisco 49ers are more battle tested. They've been through more than the Cowboys have, especially with the NFC Championships, the Super Bowl, and the Cowboys haven't reached the NFC Championship since 1995. So we're gonna see how this plays out. I believe that the Green Bay Packers, it's gonna be a close game throughout, but I believe at some certain mark, maybe it's the third, maybe it's early in the fourth, that the San Francisco 49ers are just gonna go away with the lead. They're just gonna take off, and that's gonna be it. But I believe throughout the whole game, it's gonna be a good game. Now, if the Packers are able to generate pressure and get to Brock Purdy, then we may have a different ball game, because if we've seen Brock Purdy, when pressure's in his face, he tends to make mistakes by throwing those interceptions, fumbles, all that type of stuff. So if you're the Packers, if keys to winning, just go ahead and pressure Brock Purdy, as well as on offense, controlling the pace with Aaron Jones. If Aaron Jones can have himself a big game, then you can see an upset. But I just don't see that happening. See the Packers losing. I have the San Francisco 49ers winning this game 31-17. And for our final game, we have the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, in the last 5 years, these teams have played in the playoffs twice, both times in Kansas City, both remarkable games. The infamous 13 seconds left, the overtime game. There's a lot of playoff history between these two teams. I wouldn't want to say bad blood, but this is going to be when the tide turns, I believe, this for the Bills. This is your opportunity to get over the top, because if you're able to beat the Chiefs, you have the Ravens or the Texans next, and I believe, or we'll go into that another time, but we're going to focus on this one. With Josh Allen, I believe since coming into the season this year, he's understood that I need to slow down my turnovers, or majority of the end of the regular season, toward the end of the regular season, that he's been trying to lower the turnovers, because you can't win games when you turn the ball over many times, especially like Josh has in his past, especially being reckless when he's running with the ball, hold it tight, hold it safe, not throwing into the opposing team. And that's going to be very key in this game, especially because we know with Patrick Mahomes in the past, if Patrick Mahomes is going to get the ball and have extra possessions and able to score and opportunities to score, he's going to take full advantage of that, and he's going to do that. And people have been saying that the narrative this year is the Chiefs have no receivers, it's Travis Kelce, and that's it. Well, kind of to combat that from last playoff game against in their last playoff game, Rashid Rice, the rookie, had 8 receptions for 130 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's a weapon right there in itself. So I believe if Rashid Rice is going to be able to help, you have 3 offensive players that are going to help Mahomes right there. You have Kelce, of course. You're going to have Rashid Rice. And, of course, you have Isaiah Pacheco, who's one of the top running backs in the league, who runs as hard as anyone I've ever seen. So we're just going to see about that. This is also Patrick Mahomes' first road playoff game as well for the Chiefs under the Patrick Mahomes era. So let's just see how that is, because every time we've seen Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, other than the Super Bowls, it's always been at Arrowhead. And the times that we have, I mean, you could say that the one time that he has been on the road was that Super Bowl against Tampa because it was hosted in Tampa. But other than that, Patrick Mahomes basically lived in Arrowhead throughout the postseason. And having this be his first time, and arguably and convincingly, this is probably the worst amount of talent that he's had around him on the offensive side compared to seasons past. This is the best opportunity that the Bills are going to have till who knows when to dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs. And I do believe that is going to happen this weekend in Buffalo with the terrible weather conditions. I have the Bills winning 24-21 to go on to the AFC Championship. So by my logic, with all the games, we're going to see the AFC Championship. We're going to have the Ravens taking on the Bills, and then we're going to have the Bucs taking on the San Francisco 49ers. So hopefully all my predictions came true. Go ahead and keep following, keep watching. We're going to have more episodes out, I promise. I know I said it in the last episode, but this time I honestly mean it. I've been lazy with it. I haven't been getting to it as much as I should. Just dropped an album. Go ahead and check that out. Can't Knock the Hustle. Heavy work. Got my guy right here. But yeah, you already know what it is. Dubs only. Catch you next time. Peace. Driving down the 110, going 110. Like a starter now, never from the bullpen. Call up Hirsch, never wish the worst. It come back around, check it, karma is a curse. Why you looking like you wanna be on in the scene? You ain't got a front now,